Uh, hey everybody, it's the Spicy Juggalo back at you. I'm a guy painted up like Violent J, but I'm interviewing Farmer J.
And
What's
he's
up,
back
Farmer
like a vertebrae.
J? Welcome to the table. Don't mind the mess behind me. It's one of the last interviews and didn't go well at the end.
There you go. What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Oh man, making it. Just glad that we could finally do this, man. We've been trying to do it for a couple weeks, and I'm just glad we're here.
Yeah, I'm in the garage, and I don't know if you could tell, but it's a little chilly. Just a little chilly.
Hey, I got mine on too, brother. Got mine on too.
Thanks for that, by the way. Those are awesome. Sweet.
Man, I just wanted to do something that was a little bit different. I started them out as a prize for the Power Nanner Challenge, and the community loved them so much, so I just kept them rolling, man. And people absolutely love them.
Yeah, they are pretty cool. I don't see too much in the way of like chili products out there that aren't the foods. You don't see a lot of like chili themed clothing or anything. You really have to look hard for that stuff sometimes.
Yeah, you do, and then you don't find it until you start getting into these groups and stuff and seeing everybody's creations. And then normally, to find a chili shirt or something like that, it's usually print on demand, and so you have to pay a few dollars more. And when the T-shirt comes, it's just stamped on, and then a few washes, it's like, man, my shirt's ruined. So that kind of sucks. But I mean, it is what it is until we're all millionaires. That's what we got to deal with.
True. So one question I like to ask everybody, it gives everybody a pretty good picture, is how did you get started in eating hot, spicy food?
Well, I started in middle school. Basically, we would have, I went to a big, huge school. There was actually about 700 people in my graduating class. And they had 4 different lines. They had a taco line, a pizza line, and then a soul food line, and then like an a la carte area. Well, we would go to the taco line, and we would have jalapeno eating contests between me and my friends. So we would see how many we could eat before we had to get a drink. That's when I started getting into hot stuff. Now, it wasn't until my late 20s where I started really getting into hot stuff. But yeah, middle school, man, I really wanted to test my limits and see where I was at.
Mhm. Very cool. When did you start actual growing stuff and earning the farmer name?
The that's all cool stories too, in my opinion. It's like me and my wife, we always had a garden, always, and we grew corn, etc. And I wanted to grow ghost peppers because I like spicy food. And so I bought a bunch of ghost pepper seeds and I tried to germinate them, and it didn't work because they didn't grow. Germination for regular vegetables and peppers are 2 different worlds.
Oh yeah.
Pepper seeds need a proper temperature of like 85 to 88 degrees. That area, that's their happy spot, and they need heat mats and proper domes for moisture. There is a little bit more into germinate them. So I looked on to how to germinate them, and I found Pepper Lovers community, and that's when I first found my first vendor, and I bought some seeds from him, and dude, I was addicted. Our first year, we were supposed to only have ghost peppers, and we ended up with 77 varieties.
Oh.
So that was in 2018.
Wow. So it hasn't really been too long. It's still a little bit new in it, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and how I got the Farmer J name, it was actually given to myself by me. What I had done is I had gotten all these pepper seeds, and I upgraded from the Ziploc baggie up to a tackle box. Oh. And I went to go write Farmer Jared on it, and I wrote too big, and I realized I wasn't going to be able to fit my whole name by the time I got to the end, so I just stopped with the J, and I was like, Farmer J, that'll work.
Yeah, it does. I mean, everybody loves using it, though. I think in the pepper world, it's almost like in the Juggalo world, everybody kind of gets a nickname at some point, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people are coined with different things. Nick, Pepper Pod Nick, Billy. He threw up twice on camera on his first 2 challenges, so it came up with "Don't Pull a Billy."
Right.
So I mean, so that's Billy Nelson, and but yeah, everybody eventually gets coined their own nickname. or something happens and they acquire it.
Nice, nice. Good fun there, man. Yeah. I appreciate it. Kind of builds a like community building that way too. Everybody gets nicknames. It's more of like a brotherhood and stuff like that.
Exactly, exactly. And the League of Fire also helps with that because when you first get into the League of Fire, you have to figure out a nickname for yourself. So I use Farmer J, and then you got Dustin Johnson, the Atomic Menace, Shin, she's the UK Chili Queen, so et cetera, et cetera. You have to come up with nicknames. So when you submit yours, I'm sure you're going to be Spicy Juggalo, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that kind of helps.
At this point, that's stuck to the wall now. It's permanent.
There you go.
So, speaking of competitions, has there been any really, really tough ones for you? Ones that you were just like, man, I don't know if this is a great idea.
Yeah, the hardest one now, challenge wise, is the Nemesis bar. I've never been able to beat the Nemesis bar. I get to the same point every time I attempt it, and I don't know if it's the way the bar's made or my body with chocolate. I don't like chocolate, so I don't know if that's what's stopping me. But every time I get halfway through it, it's just like I can't keep it down. So that's a hard one for me. I'd have to say competition wise, I won the Arkansas State Championship in 2019, and I had to go 55 rounds against Russ Walker's son, and ended up finally beating him in the 55th round.
And that's eating whole chilies, right?
Yeah, that's whole chilies. We ended up by the time you can find the video on Facebook, by the time we were done, I think we had consumed like 9 Reapers in a row, which, for most people that are like some people in the chili community, Dustin Johnson, he has a world record. And then Shen, she's eaten a lot, and several other people have eaten a lot as well. But when you take a person that just had getting into pepper eating and feed them 9 Reapers in a row after they had just consumed ghost peppers and Thai peppers and everything else, I had to hold on, and it was really, really hard, and I wanted it. So I ended up winning that. And since COVID happened, we haven't had another state championship since, unfortunately.
Well, congratulations on that. I didn't know you had a victory there.
I appreciate that. We had Sons of Fire had an online chili competition. I wanted to do better in that. I have a problem with really, really floral pods. And if they taste like flowers too much to me, I can't get them down. So I didn't make it very far in that one. But hey, you know what? I mean, there's always next time.
There is. I hope there's some more soon, because I enjoyed watching it on was it We Are the Champions, that competition there. I just like watching it. It's something about, what is it, do you think, about watching people do challenges that's kind of just addicting?
I think what the part about it's addicting is watching a person push themselves. And that's what's really cool. If you watch Jason and Janice over at Bartender 26, Jason has a higher tolerance than Janice. So when they do a challenge together, Jason usually does very well with it. But it's honestly more entertaining to watch Janice because she drives herself, she pushes herself. Yesterday they did the V1 Chug Challenge from the League of Fire, and Jason had no problem with it. He loved it. He loved the taste of it. He said he could do 2 or 3, where Janice couldn't stand it. It was a gut bomb to her. But watching her hold it down and really pushing herself, I guess that's what's most entertaining about watching these things. Even you last night, that's another example. You did the cap gun last night. You get the powder in. You could tell you were struggling with the powder. It almost gave you hiccups. And I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I did. But it started to hiccup, and then you went to grab the sauce, and you're like, I can see it in your eyes. You're like, this sucks. I do not want to do this right now. But you did it anyway. You pushed yourself. And then you did your afterburn, and then it's time again. And I could tell you did not want to pour that sauce in that shot glass to do it again, because you knew you liked the sauce, but you had to do the powder to get to the sauce, and you didn't like that powder.
Yeah.
so like a lot of people wouldn't pick that out, but I've watched those little things. I can tell because I've been there, so many times before.
Yeah, the powder, it's just not a natural thing to eat a powder of any sort, right? There's just grittiness. It's hard to get down, and it just sticks into your teeth and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah, I'm still remembering that. But that sauce was good, man. Oh man, that
Yeah,
was
Sean
delicious.
Overthrow. I can't wait to do mine here in the next week or so. But from what I've heard, that sauce is really good.
Nice. Yeah, I'm starting my Tink. I just started it a few days back. The clown shows, root beer
Nice.
flavor. Yeah, yeah. We'll see how it turns out. I give it a couple
Uh,
months and see.
you're actually probably going to be very pleasantly surprised with how well it's going to turn out for your first tink. And also, let me give you a couple of pointers while we're on here, and able to talk face to face. Your tincture will acquire its heat within the first 2 weeks. Okay. And that's shaking every day, 3 or 4 times a day, if possible. If not, 1 or 2, that's okay too. But you will get to its heat in 2 weeks or around the desired heat level. What the reason we let them go 4 to 6 weeks is what happens is those flavors change and mend. And the longer you cure a tincture, the smoother it's going to be, the more mellow. It's like, you're using alcohol. Anytime you're going to make a whiskey, that whiskey is going to be very harsh at first, but over the course of time, it's going to mellow out. It's almost like aging in a barrel. And that's what happens in that jar. It gets aged and it becomes a nice, smooth, mellow flavor. And that's why we age them.
See, boys and girls, this is why you got to watch this stuff. Because Farmer Jay's not only doing an interview, he's teaching stuff today. Everybody gets a free Tink lesson.
I just want to be able to tell these people, this stuff, because this is stuff that has taken me years, the past couple of years to figure out on my own. Now, I look for people for advice too. The other day, I was having a problem with my tinctures coming out too bitter. So I messaged Dustin Johnson, Tom Minnis, and I was like, hey, man, is there any way you can give me some pointers? And he told me to use a simple sugar recipe or honey to help sweeten, to take that bitterness out. I chose the honey route, but I was worried about my tincture becoming cloudy because I added sugar to it. I didn't know how the alcohol and sugar were going to react with each other. But you know what? I threw that out the window. It was like, well, why would I want to put out something that doesn't taste good just to keep my clarity? Right. So I look for advice too. And I just want to be able to pass it on to people. There's not a lot of tincture material out there for hot pepper tincture. And I wanted to change that. I wanted people to be able to do it themselves.
It's about time you start writing a book. You get going. just start it up, think about lessons, and next thing you know, you could have a pepper roll bestseller.
Yeah. And then, there's so many helpful people in the pepper community, and I look for people for advice all the time, and then I'm just able to pass it on to other people. So it's a community thing.
Here's a thought. Maybe Sons of Fire can get people's input on recipes, growing techniques, and things of that nature, and actually create a pepper book.
Yeah, that would be extraordinary. But man, it'd take a lot of dedication and a lot of time from a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And but
that's an idea, though.
Yeah, definitely, it's an idea. Definitely, it's an idea.
Very cool. And speaking of Sons of Fire, I've noticed one thing since I joined, and actually before I joined, a lot of people are very dedicated to charity in Sons of Fire. Not just with each other, but actual national charities and things like that. Is that one of the things that interested you about Sons of Fire? What got you so heavily involved?
All right, so Sons of Fire, Dave Doran came to me and said, "Hey, I've got this idea," and he pitched me the idea, and I was like, "Why isn't this happening? Why isn't this becoming something huge?" And I told him, I said, "So what are you wanting to do?" And he said, "I'm wanting to create a brotherhood, where a brotherhood that takes care of each other." I said, "You mean for the whole community?" He said, "Yeah, for the whole community. Anybody in the chili community, if we can help them, if we can support them, if we can do something to make a difference in their life," he's like, "That's what I want to do." And if you've been around me or even talked to me for 10 seconds, you know, that's what I'm all about. So I told him, I was like, I'm totally on board with this, totally on board with this. And, you know, we got the ball rolling and we look for particular things that, you know, we can help with that not a lot of people are helping with. So yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. I'll tell you what Sons of Fire means to me right now. I mean, it's so simple. Supporting each other, brotherhood and sisterhood, and making a difference in the Chile community. That's what Sons of Fire means to me. If I can take 10 minutes and reach out to somebody and be like, hey man, saw you were down. You know, is everything okay? I've done that to you. You know, it's like I reached out to you and I was like, hey man, hadn't heard from you. You good? You know,
Yeah, I get those messages a lot actually.
you know, and it only takes, dude, if you can take 3 minutes of your day and type out, hey, how are you? Just wanted to check in and make sure you're doing well. If you need anything, holler at me. And you can take that couple minutes or whatever, send that message over. That could completely change their day.
True.
Completely change their day.
Yeah. So while I still have you here, is there any shameless plugs you want to put out there? Anything you got going on, charities or stuff to sell or?
Shameless plugs. I mean, honestly, Cap Gun right now, guys. Cap Gun. I have my headphones on. I have 50 or 60 in a box right there. I'm not gonna get up and excuse myself. Y'all know what it looks like. So the Cap Gun to me is rolling out already. You know, you did yours last night. You know, y'all can find that video on Colby Ritchie's feed or over in Tongue Burners. I think that he also shared the link in Chasing Capsaicin shortly after. So definitely Cap Gun. Charity wise, I'm still trying to work on some stuff with Irv Revere. For Irv, you know, we've got that GoFundMe account set up. So Russell Stewart and a bunch of other guys, we're all working together trying to make sure Irv is taken care of, and that's very, very important to me. As far as other shameless plugs, I can't think of, but yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your time today. I know you're a busy guy, and I had to get you on my table at some point. I mean,
right on.
Who should be next? Do you have any ideas? I've got a few people lined up, but is there anybody like you should say, this guy's got to interview him?
You know, there's quite a few people that I would like to see on your table. I think that Jeff the Fireman and Dave Doran should be on your table.
I got to get with Dave. That one's a tricky one. The time zone difference there. We got to
time zone. Yeah, Dave is very, very proud of Sons of Fire, and he's very protective of it. And I think he'd be a good interview for you.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Farmer Jay, thank you so much, brother. And turn on and have a great start to your week, man.
You too, brother, man. And I hope you have a great night, man.
All right. Thanks, man. We'll talk later.
All right.